Hello, Pokemon XYZ fans. Draspee here, episode 45, discussion and review. I do the review, you guys do the discussion. So, this episode was great. I would say that how we view this episode as is not so much as a Serena departure. This episode was not so much about Amour shipping. In fact, I think they made the emphasis on Amour shipping as light as possible while still keeping it there to show that it's an essential part of her character. To show that she's growing out of just being that girl that's there to stalk Ash, essentially. She's here because she has her own drive, will, and effort. She has her own personality traits because we've seen her develop. I mean, that's probably one of the major accusations that fly from all sides of the anti-Amour shipping community is they're like, Serena has no character. Serena's just a candy. Duh. No, 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 no. Serena does have a character, and I believe this episode proves what Serena's character is, and it shows that she's finally strong enough to move on her own. When we first meet Serena, very first episode, she's not that desirable of a character. She's not exactly who you'd see as a protagonist. And understandably, people are a little put off by how quickly she transitions around Ash, and it's mainly because she's there to impress them. But then as it progresses, we see that that's changed her a bit because she's become more polite. She's become a little more firm about her convictions on things. She's starting to develop a path, a little bit of independence by the time she meets with her mother for the first time after her journey. And, well, the whole goat race proves her conviction. Some people are like, oh, she's just into Ash. And, well, that may have been true to some extent. She has developed a bit, and even her mother sees it. She's like, yeah, you've developed a bit. Okay, so that happens. The rest of XYZ and X and Y occurs. And now we're to this episode. This shows us where she's at. So I would say I would go by food progression. Food is the first thing that I would say is shows us the progression. First time she's digging around in the fridge. The first time we see Serena interact with food. The second time we see her attempt to cook something in the same episode. So she attempts to cook a basic food in that episode. And that seems to be the first time she's really tried cooking seriously. Then we see her consistently cooking desserts and trying to help with meals. And, Citron is the main cook. Clement is the main cook. That's to be expected. I mean, it seems like the male third wheel is always the main cook. Then we see that Serena is perfectly capable of cooking on her own. She's perfectly capable of preparing her own meals, which means that she has more of a independence in that way. You might say, well, why is she cooking her own meal? That shows independence, I would say. Because as much as you might want to dispute this, you have to be able to cook on your own in order to be independent. I mean, anybody, regardless of who you are, if you want to live on your own, you have to be able to cook to some extent. That shows a very practical sense of independence, I would say. And then the other sense is we see that she knows that she wants to be a performer. She has the ability to start initiatives on her own. She's not just following other people's suggestions anymore. She's making suggestions. And that shows another aspect of growth. Then finally, her relationship with Ash. So Ash takes her on a date, if you will. It's more of just, hey, we're friends. Let's go hang out around city. If you want to read more into that, it's fine. I'm perfectly open to that interpretation. However, I would state that it's more of just, hey, let's hang out. So they do. And then this is where the episode starts throwing me for a loop. What is Serena going to do? So they have a battle, and then in that I say Ash and Serena really enunciate the way their relationship has progressed. They have been supporting each other. I mean, a lot of people like to dismiss their support as relatively the same as other characters, but no. It's been a gradual growth. I mean, for instance, Dawn and Ash. Their support for each other, they kind of hit it off really well as far as their support. People forget that in the early stages, they did have some conflicts and stuff. But in this one, Serena has had a much slower progression, largely hampered by the fact that she has feelings for Ash that are non-mutual on his part, as far as we can tell. I mean, he may, but if he does, he doesn't show it, so having a one-sided crush on someone, as far as we can tell, greatly hampers your ability to form a solid friendship with them. However, we've seen Serena that has started to succeed with that, especially in recent episodes. I would say that the first time we've seen Ash and Serena sort of had their start to develop less of a, oh, I'm just kind of into Ash and following him mildly was the post-Wulfric defeat when she comes to the forest is like, hey, Ash, and she just snaps him out of his depression. And that was, I would say, the first thing of firmness in their relationship. And I'd say this battle shows that, is that it's no longer her kind of just mildly following him around and just kind of being exasperated at his behavior. It's now her being initiative. So they now have a friendship that's operating the way friends should operate. Like real good friends know when to disagree. Good friends know when to put arguments to the forefront, and good friends know when to forgive. Now, unfortunately, there has not been enough episodes to see this full continuation, since just after I say that friendship started to develop, we kind of got launched in the busiest section of XYZ. So unfortunately, that aspect of the relationship was a little overridden by all the action. But I would say that XYZ also continued to prove her growing independence and conviction as a character. And also the performance aspect, we see that even now she has decided. So her decision is not to follow Pamera, as everyone said. Everyone's like, oh, she's going to follow Pamera. Well, I assumed when she said that she's going to stay in Kalos maybe, but then she says she's going to go to all the regions. Now this is where probably a lot of us Amour shippers, myself included, got excited. We were like, oh my gosh, is she going to Aloha? But no, she's going to Hoenn. So some of us are probably disappointed, but I would say that's actually a positive thing if you're a serious Amour shipper, because we don't want Serena to continue to be attached, like emotionally dependent upon having Ash around her, because a healthy relationship allows for two people to be separate. So she needs to be able to be detached from him in some sense to a healthy degree, and traveling on her own I think would help, because that would give her some of the emotional security that I think she might lack, especially like near the beginning of the series. I would say she's definitely made strides, but again, she does still lack some of the confidence, as we can see in this episode. So going to Hoenn on her own, maybe making a couple friends, would greatly help her confidence and her strengthen her current character growth we've seen. And as she was concerned, she thought not going on a journey would be bad, but at the same time she wanted to continue with performances. So I would say that Serena has picked the best possible path for continuing her performances. Going to Hoenn is the best decision she could make. However, there's still the issue of how does this affect their goodbye? When will their goodbye be? Will it be Ash leaving everyone, or will it be Serena leaving them all? We don't know that. I mean, we really don't know that yet. But whatever it is, I think that I'm satisfied with how things are going. Serena is showing a great progression and a growth that will allow, if they ever do become a couple, to have a solid, healthy relationship. Ash is continuing on his journey. Unfortunately, Ash will be going into the comedy-filled Sun and Moon arc, which won't show much time for character growth and actually will show character regression. However, Serena, we know, will continue to develop her character while Ash goes off on a comedy routine in Sun and Moon. So can I say I'm completely happy with the outcome? No, but at least on Serena's side of the story, I'm actually happier that she's going to Hoenn than following Ash to Comedy Central in Sun and Moon. And if I've not said that for the third time now, then I must be crazy, because I just swear I repeat myself 3 times. Okay. Well, that's enough of me going on a ramble. You guys can discuss what you thought of my ramble and what you think of the episode. Maybe we can just kind of talk about, hey, this is great. So, anyway, Draspee out. Please like, comment, click that subscribe button. If you don't click that subscribe button, well, I don't like to threaten people, but you might want to look behind you.